This week's Parsha Shoftim contains a paragraph that deals with the prohibition of the occult. This passage ends with a very interesting and innocent verse. Tamim tiyeh im Hashem Elokecha. You shall be tamim with Hashem your God. Tamim can have various meanings. How should we understand the word tamim in our verse, and in light of that, what lesson is it coming to teach? To help us understand this word, we can look at Rashi. What makes Rashi even more interesting here is that there are two versions as to what Rashi wrote, coming from different manuscripts. The first version understands the meaning of tamim to be shlemut, wholeness or completeness. This first version of Rashi understands that our verse is saying that a person should have complete trust in God. A person does not need to rely upon auguries or any form of divination to know what will happen. Rather, he should be complete in his relationship with God, such that he knows that God is watching over him and will guide him through any hardship he might encounter. The second version of Rashi understands tamim to be tamimut. While one possible understanding of the word might be perfection, from the context it would make more sense to say that the word means naive or innocence. This version of Rashi is therefore saying that we simply need to walk with and ally ourselves with God and need not concern ourselves with any other so-called power. Where does this often come to expression? It is only natural for a person to worry about his future. This concern for the future can cause one to overthink and allow one to justify to turn to alternate methods such as fortune-telling, auguries, divination, or necromancy in order to allay one's fears. For an example of this from Tanakh, we need to look no further than King Saul. At the end of his life, he visited the witch of Dvar to speak with the deceased prophet Samuel, as he was greatly concerned about his impending battle with the Philistines. In his desperation for an answer that was not forthcoming, King Saul had justified and resorted to an alternate approach despite the injunction in the Torah. Instead of simply being with God, King Saul allowed himself to rationalize acting contrary to God. This idea might sound counterintuitive, but as thinking human beings, we are able to rationalize anything. As such, the Torah's warning that to be with God, we just need to be simple in our faith with Him. It is when we start rationalizing or justifying that things can go awry. The important biblical commentator Don Abarbanel, who was a very high-ranking minister and leader of the Jews at the time of the expulsion from Spain, tells us that it was the simple Jews, simple in their faith and simply clinging to God, who left in the mass expulsion from Spain to continue to be practicing Jews. Conversely, it was many of the intellectuals who had rationalized remaining and succumbed to becoming the conversos, the hidden Jews of Spain. One might have a high intellect, but it is the simple faith that helps to keep one along the path. Tamim tiyeh im Hashem Elokecha. Shabbat Shalom.